everybody, Chris here. Alright, today we're going to make another portal. Why? Because I like portals. This one is based on the video that was going around of the guy who had made a portal with a tablet. It was pretty cool. So I figured that I'd make a smaller one using my iPhone that you could put in the middle and download some spiral software. I found one and then I was paying like $1.99 for it so I get access to all the little spirals that they've got. Put it in the middle and you've got a cool looking portal that you can put in front of your game, Pathfinder, D&D, whatever. So standard here, you got your 2-inch extruded foam you get from Home Depot, Lowe's. I went ahead and just traced the phone and then I just kind of marked in a little bit, maybe like 1/8 of an inch or so in, because the phone is going to slide in there and it's going to hold it in place and sort of hide the edges and hide the top. I cut it out using my hot wire cutter. Of course, you could do it with a box cutter if you wanted to, or a X-Acto knife, whatever you got. But yeah, so I cut out the middle there, marked it up, and then what I did was I just set up the fence and then cut it in half, and marked the inside, cut out a little notch on the inside, put them together to test them, boom, there you go. That was pretty much it to get it going here. So I measured it because I wanted it to sit, the phone, I wanted it to hide the top part of the phone and the bottom part of the phone. So I marked out a little section, cut it out, just dug in there and cut out all the foam that I wanted. And yeah, so I did that until I was pretty satisfied with how deep the phone would go. Kind of tested the phone a few times to make sure it worked. Perfect. Everything fit. Got it. There you go. And once I was done with that, I just sort of marked up the base a little bit for it. Cut a notch out because I was going to put stairs out front on it. Trimmed it a little bit. Yep. Made sure everything fit right. Pushed the phone down a little bit more. Went and hot glued the thing together. Hot glued the two sides together. And then hot glued it to the base right after that. Boom, done. There, fits nicely. And just beefed it up a little bit. Then I took some spackle here just to kind of put on there to close up the, to hide any of the gaps from where I put it together. And then here, for this, I'm using this 1/2-inch extruded foam. It's green, I think, when you buy it at Lowe's. And it's much easier to use to make stairs. I could have cut it out with the 2-inch foam and gotten some nice steps out of it, but it's really easy when you do it here. You could do any of this with the cutter, box cutter, or the or X-Acto knife if you really wanted to, but the hot wire cutter just makes it pretty simple. Do the whole thing. So yeah, so I just cut it out, and that's the notch that fits into the base there as well. Just measuring everything. It's a little hard to see with the base blocking it. But once that was done, then just here I'm going ahead and marking up to create kind of a tile or slate effect on it, and then bring it down to the sides as well on there. And do the same thing on the bottom part of the base. And you just alternate the cuts like you're doing slides or like doing brickwork or something. And after you do that, you take a pen, and then the pen just sort of widens, between the bricks to kind of give it that full effect. And then just cut the edges so it looks like it's actually, coming all the way down onto wherever you're putting this thing here. So just checked it, make sure everything worked. Looks good. Oh, and then I went ahead and I just cut some notches out of it and drew some cracks into it with the pen. Kind of stuck the pen in there a little bit, so I had some good little cracks, made it kind of look old and like it's it's been around there for a long time. And finished up making those. Yep, and that's it. And then just glued it together, hot glued it to the base. And then once I got it and I was happy with that, I took more of that spackle and then just filled in some of the gaps. I was doing this pretty quick. If I wanted to do it a bit slower, I would have cut it better so that they all fit together. But I still would have ended up you'll still get these little gaps. And I still would have used caulk or spackle. I just had some spackle on hand, so I just used spackle and just filled in the gaps there. And I sort of liked the way that the spackle looked because it kind of gave it a stone, even more so with the base. I guess didn't mention this, but I had used the white glue and put the sand over there and left it overnight so it dried. So I had that sand effect, this textured effect that you get on the bottom of it. And I took a pen just to clear out the little, the between the tiles, so that you still had that effect. And that's pretty much it. I left it there overnight to dry again. Once it was good, everything looks great. It's all glued. Everything's all dry. I took my thumb and just scraped off some of the big chunks of the caulk that were left. Or sorry, the spackle that was left. And if it was real bad, I didn't need to do it, but I was ready to take a wet sponge and just work it with a wet sponge a little bit just to clean it up if I needed to. But it was in good shape. It wasn't bad. I didn't overdo it, there. And so that's it. And so I got some, here I took the tinfoil in a ball and just kind of distressed the top part to make it look more like stone, like it's stone that had the portal doorway had been cut in it. And I think I was putting on some other music. Yep, that's right. And so I took I took that and then pushed it down on the edges, around the edges, until I was real satisfied with it. I didn't do the back of it because I figure if I'm going to use it, I'm going to press it up against the back of some terrain that I have. So I really just did the front, and the sides had that spackle on it, so it was all good. I didn't need to do that. Now the black paint, I add a little water to it because I find that just the regular acrylic, this is just an expensive black acrylic paint you get from any craft store like Michael's or AC Moore, and I like to water it down a little bit because it really gets into the cracks much better than the thick, and it doesn't like just goop on there, the regular thick acrylic paint that you dump out of those big bottles there. And so I painted this whole thing black just to prime it. Went over the whole thing. I think I ended up, because it came out kind of thin, I ended up doing 2 coats on it. I didn't film the 2 coats because you don't want to watch me paint black over black. That's pretty boring. But I just painted the black over it and then painted the edges. Yeah, that's it. It's very simple. And there you go. Now you don't. Again, I think I mentioned in the other videos, you never spray paint these things because unless you have a water-based spray paint, which will work, but regular spray paint has a solvent in it which will melt the foam. So unless you want it looking like volcanic rock or igneous rock or whatever, you don't want to spray paint it. That's why I use acrylic paint on it. Once you get the acrylic paint on it, you can very carefully spray paint it. But I'm always really careful about that because you can destroy everything you've worked on if you're not. If you had a piece that, say, a little piece that didn't get some paint on it or something like that, then it'll trash it. I thought about making a little cap in there to go in where the top of the phone slides in, but and you could certainly do that. Just make a little cap to slide on top there so that it hides it a little bit better, and that's an option. And this actually slides down far enough that I could very easily do that. And I still may do that, but I didn't do it this time around on this build, and it's not that big of a deal. I mean, you put it in front of the players and they'll be super psyched about it, and it looks great with that with the portal, much better than and I've tried using resin, I've tried with hot glue and everything, and the idea that this guy had to use the tablet in there and then use a spiral app on there really takes it to the next level. So I'm just dry brushing some gray on here just to make a kind of a slate look. And if you want, you can take some time and you can dry brush on some blues and some whites to really get some good rock color, because of course rocks are not just gray and black. There's lots of different colors in there. I didn't do that. I didn't really worry about it. I just wanted to get the whole thing painted up, get it finished, and so that I could use it in an upcoming game. And it only took me, I figure, probably, not including dry time, it was probably about an hour's worth of work to get this whole thing done. It was pretty quick. I decided to leave the stairs just solid black. You can see the cracks in them as they go along that were there. They really came out when I painted them black. The cracks that I made in the stone the stone stairs that kind of looked like they had been laid. So yeah, so that's it. And just touching it up a little bit. And that's all. And that's it. That's the portal. It's a portal to Sigil, or maybe a portal to the Demon Web Pits or the Abyss or something. You can put that right in front of your players and battle it out, for that. Looks great. Super easy to build. You just slide your phone, and you do want to be careful though, because that's sand and stone there, and you'll scratch the front of your phone. So use caution with that. But other than that, great, easy build. Thanks a lot. See you next time.